I was looking at all your stuff, doing some homework, right? Getting familiar with your amazing history. And I'm looking at the way you have it on your site, shy and failure and all this stuff. And then the huge transition. I'd love to know how you landed there. Like, I have other questions to peel back from, but how the heck did you land there? How'd you make that transition?
I'm still doing it,
Yeah.
right? Like if you look at the website at the front, it shows who I've been, and it's shy and introverted and all the stories that I've told myself. But then the second one isn't who I am, it's still who I'm becoming. So I'm still working on it.
Yep. Yep.
I'm still working through those things. The process for me is one, trying to surround myself with the things that make me feel like that's possible. I think lack of belief is the world's biggest problem, and I'm trying to solve it for the world and for myself along the way too. So what makes you feel like belief is possible? Like you could become that person. And if it's Chris and his show and all this, all the guests he brings on and all the conversation, great. Surround yourself with Chris some more. And even if you never meet Chris, you can still learn from him, be inspired by him. And then step two is action. You got to do something. So it's great to be inspired by Chris, but then what? Are you going to launch your show? Are you going to start that workout? Are you going to create that business? Are you going to ask that person out? Like, what is the next step? So it's the belief that it's possible, and then the corresponding action slowly shifts you from who you've been to who you want to be.
Yeah, I love it. I did notice that wording, by the way, in your site. I did notice that transition or ongoing. Let me ask you this. I know people ask me this because I've written several books. You're out there everywhere. Some people say to me, "Yeah, but how do I surround myself with so and so? How do I get around them?" Or they're afraid to pick up the phone or write them an email. Any thoughts on that? How do they get around more people that they want to get around?
You change the intonation of that question. So most people, when they ask that question, they say, "Okay, well, how do I get around somebody that
Yeah.
could help me?" Instead of, "How do I get around somebody that can help me?" Same words, different intonation, which reflects a different belief system that you've got around it. If you're starting that question with, "Yeah, easy for you, Chris, easy for you, Evan, how do I do it?" You don't actually even want an answer. Like you've already lost from the beginning in how you're asking that question.
Yeah.
Where if you say, "Okay, how can I do this?" If you look at my story, if you look at Chris's story, if you look at everybody's story, chances are things weren't just handed to them. So in asking that question with hope, where you're actually looking for an answer, you can get to an answer. So for me, how was it? I look to bring value to the people that I want to connect with. Pay attention to where they're spending their time, and then be there, bringing as much value as possible, so you become a recognizable face to them. So, quick example: last night, Elena Cardone. I don't know if you know Elena. She's Grant Cardone's husband.
Grant, okay.
She went live on her Instagram. She's got Grant has his 10x business. Elena has her 10x ladies business. So she goes live on Instagram, and she's promoting 10x.com. She says, "Hey, if you want to sign up for my new networking event, go to 10x.com ladies, 10xladies.com/network." Some long link, right? 10xladies.com/network. That was it. So she's talking about it. I'm in the chat. I see she's going live, so I joined the live. Now I already know Elena, but as soon as she said that link, I took the link and I put it in the chat. And I put it 3 or 4 times in the chat. I was the only one doing it. Anybody could
Ah,
have done this.
yeah.
She said it. As soon as she said, I tried to remember it. Why? Because if you want to help somebody, be their chief goal officer. You have to know what is their number one goal and then help them get it. And then they'll love you and they'll reward you. Chief goal officer. So for Elena, in this moment right now, is she's trying to promote this website. Tomorrow, she may not care. Even later on that night, she may not care because Grant is part of Undercover Billionaire, and episode 2 was last night. But in this moment right now, what's her goal? She wants to talk about her networking event for 10X Ladies. So I put the link. Nobody else did. Copied it 3, 4 times. She sees it. She says, "Thank you, Evan, so much for posting the link." And then she pins it as the pinned comment. So now everybody who's watching the stream has seen my link put in there. She's
Right on.
saying my name multiple times. Everybody who's watching is seeing my name. And it's more for, I want this would be my goal if I didn't know who she was, if she didn't know who I was, right? She said my name 3 or 4 times on that stream to say, and like Evan Carmichael posted down below, go check out the link. anybody can do this. So now she's saying my name multiple times. The people are seeing it multiple times. I'm getting on her radar. If she didn't know who I was, now I'm on her radar because I showed up where she was and I brought value. And that's what I do in micro ways constantly. Like, whoever you're trying to get in touch with, where are they spending time with? Where are they spending time? Like, Chris is probably everywhere. Chris probably has a YouTube account and an Instagram account and a LinkedIn account and a Twitter account, but he's more active on one than the other. Like, where are you most active, Chris?
I'd say YouTube is our more active spot. Yeah.
Well, like, where you're actually responding to comments.
Then probably Facebook and Instagram.
Great. So, like, if you want to get a hold of Chris, that's your best bet.
Yeah.
If you're going to his LinkedIn and leaving all sorts of comments, you might be bringing the best value of all time, but maybe Chris isn't paying attention to LinkedIn that much. But if you're on his Instagram, right? Liking the picture is not enough, but he's seen the comments. So if you want to be around Chris more, if you want to have Chris on your show, being engaged where he is engaged, like an Instagram, is where you need to be. If Chris goes live on Instagram, maybe he never goes live. Now he's going live. You need to be on that live, bringing incredible value, asking incredible questions. Be Chris's chief goal officer. Help him get to where he wants to go. He's going to want to spend more time with you. And that's just the way it works with everybody. So you can do that. You can learn to bring value to people, and then they'll want to reciprocate and give value back to you.
So simple, but if every single wicked smart listener right now would go do that this afternoon, there'd be a major wave. If you think about it, this is not difficult stuff, guys. Simple. Let me ask you this, Evan. Bring it back to like if someone's going, got it. Where did it start for you though? Like, bring it back to the very beginning when you had some of those challenges. Was there a mind shift? Was there a person? Was there a thing? Or was it not one thing? Was it like a culmination in a growing and what I call a stacking?
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't want to model how I did it because mine was really slow, slow, painful, a lot of mistakes, a lot of negative self-beliefs. It took me 5 years, Chris, to get to 7,000 subscribers on my channel. 5 years to get from 0 to 7,000 subscribers on my channel, and then another 5 years to get to 2 million, from 7,000 to 2 million. Wow. on my channel. I think most of your listeners, audio and video, they could get there a lot faster than me.
So what was the big change from then to then? Because everybody, like every single person I have on the show has some story like that. Like, it took me this long, but then boom. Thoughts?
It was the decision to play a bigger game and to stop getting in my own way. Like, just a decision to play a bigger game and to step up. And I started doing things that I wouldn't have normally done. So one major move was hiring an editor so that I could do things, I could scale and not have it be all me all the time, because I sucked at editing too. And I was spending, this is another mistake a lot of people make, is you want to be a thought leader, you spend 20 minutes making a video and then 4 hours editing it.
Yeah.
You're training the wrong skill. Where are you spending your time on the thing that you don't want to be great at? You're training the wrong skill. And I realized that I'm spending all this time, I'm training the wrong skill. I need somebody else to do this for me. I need to spend 4 hours recording the video and 20 minutes editing. I started working with my agent, who put me through his boot camp of what I need to do to make better videos. And he would give me an assignment to make my foundation story and record a 20-minute video telling my story. And I would do that 3 times a day. He would give me feedback. I would make the video in the morning. He'd give me feedback. I'd make the video at lunch again. He'd give me feedback and make a dinner before I went to bed. And then the next morning we'd repeat until we went through 40 cycles of that. This is just a decision. Like, it was playing on a more aggressive level that I hadn't done before, because I wanted my future to be brighter. I was tired of playing the small game and slowly getting growth. And I just felt like I owed it to myself and the people who could hear my message to step up and play a bigger game.
So I heard I heard a bunch of things, but 2 things in particular: the choice, right? David Nurse calls it the superpower, but that you made a choice. But I also heard that advisor / mentor / person that was critiquing you and causing you to do the next So talk a little bit about the importance of that fast forward regarding mentors, because here we are, we coach people all around North America and beyond. And yet there's people that go, oh, I could dip my toe in it and I'll do it myself. Yet they could fast forward dramatically. And when you talk about our deals, you're talking about a lot of money, like 6-figure deals per deal, if they're just learning how to do one more thing better. So the importance of mentors in your life and coaches in general.
Huge. And that's why I led with choice. Like for people who have come up against your stuff, they have to choose. You can give them some of the stuff for free. And listen, that'll help them grow a little bit from where they're at right now. But if you know that they can be closing 6-figure deals by working more closely with you, they just haven't made the choice that this is important enough for them. So the fastest way to grow is to learn and get coached by somebody who's already done the thing that you want. Anything. You want to
Yeah,
you want to
right on.
you want to work out, get a coach who's knows how to work out and push their clients. You want to grow in business, find somebody who's grown, right? And you have there's no one coach for your whole life. There's different coaches who teach you different things based on what they're great at. Your business coach might have the worst relationship of all time, so you have somebody to help you with your relationships instead, right? Your lawyer might not be in the best shape, so you don't take health advice from your lawyer. It's fine, right? But it's that decision to say, no, I recognize that I have Michael Jordan genius at something, and it's not all of these other things. So I'm going to surround myself with a team that can help me. And the thing I want to get kick ass best in the world at, I'm going to go get coached and learn from some of the best in the world. And that's just a choice for you to step up and make it time to play a bigger game for you.
Yeah, so let's talk directly. Let's act like you're on stage right now. And soon with COVID, we hopefully be back on stage. But you're on stage and you're talking to a bunch of, say, corporate people that just lived through COVID and kind of had it, because that's a lot of the people we deal with. And they're trying to decide, they get the fear and the anxiety, but they're trying to decide, should I go full time into real estate or frankly, any endeavor? But they've got the same limiting beliefs, the same fear, the same anxiety as anyone else who would try to make a transition. What would you say to them? The corporate people, they're in good shape financially, they're just done with it and they want to go entrepreneur route. What would you say to them?
You hate your life and you don't want 30 more years of the same. And maybe this is the opportunity for you. Maybe it's not. But you know that where you're at right now is not what you want. And staying in that, like just have them fast forward to 30 more years of the exact same life. Like they've already had it. Now imagine 30 more years. The thing is we don't apply enough pressure or enough pain to where we're at right now. And then the new thing seems really scary. You know, one more day at the office is not life threatening, life
Yeah, well said.
endangering. Like
Yeah.
it's just another day. Jump into something brand new, jumping into real estate, that's super scary. So I'm not going to do it. But 30 years of doing the same thing is mega painful. It's way, way, way more painful than jumping into real estate and giving it a shot for 2021. And so that's the job is to just give them the perspective shift. That what's your alternative? Going back and slaving away for 30 more years doing work that you hate, and then ending up looking back on your life realizing I could have done something back in 2021 and I was just too afraid to do it. Versus take a shot. What's the worst that happens? I'm not going to tell you to go invest $5 million into your first deal with no backup and just drain your bank account, right?
Right.
Like that's
Right.
why you hire a coach. So you don't go hurt yourself, right? You don't just go to the gym and try to lift 1,000 pounds, right? Like you have a trainer who says, no, when you're curling, you do this much, right? That's why you work with experts. But you know that you don't want to be in the same spot 30 years from today. So what are you going to do about it?
I know we talk about this like it's so matter of fact, because I guess to both of us, it's like, yeah, what are you thinking about? Just go this route. Don't recreate the wheel. I'd like to hear, you've got obviously a lot of challenges. You wouldn't be where you are. So I'd like to hear what maybe one of the major ones was for you and what positively came out of it or a lesson, because like for me, it was the 2008 crash, but that's why we're doing what we're doing now in a big, big way. Now, never trade it. So for you, was there one thing, one speed bump, one major, I know there's a lot, but one major one that you said, man, that was awesome in hindsight because I did this, this, and this?
even in that my first business, just deciding not to quit. I called my partner. I told him I quit, and then the next day I woke up and I went back to work. And it was me just not wanting to live with regret. I told myself I'd rather know and fail than not know, because not knowing destroys you for life. Because you're always going to look back on this moment and say, what if I just gave it a shot? You can always
Mm.
minimize the downside of it not working out. You can always, there's always ways around to, minimize that risk. But the risk of not knowing, that eats away at you forever. And so I just try to I made that as painful as possible for me, because I was working in my business for a year. At that time, nothing was working. I'm spending every waking hour working on my business, making $300 a month, owning 30% of this company, and just nothing's working out. So I quit and said I need to feel like I'm a valuable human being again. Like I just something, some kind of result, anything,
Yeah.
because I was getting results with everything else I put effort against, except this. But then I woke up the next day and said I can't quit because I haven't given it everything, and I don't want to be. I'm 40 now. I was 20 then. I don't want to be 40 and look back and hate my life.
Well, then you solved that issue, right? Awesome.
We solved that issue.
Yeah.
But I thought 40 was like old man back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just I used to make a lot of decisions through the lens of regret to give me the courage that I needed to take the action to move forward.
These see each and every one of these. I love this so much because each and every one of these with your candor is like their takeaways, their action steps, and I hope their emotional movement for people. I mean, it's pretty. These are big thoughts, guys, and I encourage you to keep listening and hit replay a million times. So let's go the opposite end of that, Evan. What's next for you? Like you've done some really cool things. You brought us through a little bit of that. They can. I'm going to ask you in a minute to tell them how to find you so they can see more of it. But what's next? Like what's the next thing for you? What's the next project? Every entrepreneur is running for something next. Usually, when I have them on the show.
Yeah, I mean, next is just bigger of more of what I'm doing. So, we're almost at 3 million subscribers on YouTube. It's what's the plan to 10? How do we get 10? We're at 400 million views or something. How do we get a billion? Just more lives. It's not just about the numbers, but like the impact, the reach, the what you're doing is making a difference. Got a couple of secret projects I'm working on that should be coming out this
Cool.
year. I'm doing a training. So I built a bunch of courses and realized that most people who get a course don't go through it.
Mm.
And it bothers me. Like most people who buy a book don't read it. And that's just the way the nature of the industry, but it bothers me. I want people to get results. So I'm going the opposite of the industry and against my advisors in this one, uh, because they just say, hey, build a course and who cares if they go through it or not? Like, well, I care if they go through it or not. Like, I want
Mm.
people to get results. So we turn the course into a membership. So we've got a membership called Movement Makers to help people build their movement from the ground up. And then another one called Brandlytics, where I'm diving deep. You're a little further ahead, diving deep into your YouTube channel, giving you feedback of like what I would do if I was in charge of your channel. um, and it's more work on my part. It's like showing up each one of those is every 2 weeks. So basically every week I'm showing up to do more training with people, but I love it. Like I love seeing somebody come in and they have different beliefs and mindset and are running a different operating system. And I come in and say, no, here are the 3 things you have to do. And then they do it. And then they start seeing results, and the smile on their face is like, that's why I do what I do. So more of that training. Those two, Brandlytics is just launching. Movement Makers launched last year, and just spending more time with the people in the group, helping them get results.
I love it. So I'll revisit that with you on a different level for our community. How can these guys reach you? I don't want to forget that. Like, there's so much you do. What would you prefer the best way to reach you so they can start getting their fingers on a lot of what you do?
I think wherever you like to hang out, I'm probably there. So there's a lot of YouTube videos. We've done over 10,000 videos. So there's a lot of content to kind of dive in and get your feet wet. But on all the other platforms, I'm usually there. If you want to consume, if you want to actually connect one-on-one and get a response, this is part of being chief goal officer. The easiest place to connect with me right now is my YouTube gaming channel. So I go live playing League of Legends, which is a video game, 4 days a week in the evening with a co-host, and we answer business questions. And if I did it on my main channel, we have almost 3 million subscribers. On this channel, yesterday, like 10 people showed up. It's great.
Yeah,
Like that's the chance that if
it's
you were
not
one of those
crazy.
10, you could get 8 questions answered, So that's probably the best spot to get me if you want a one-on-one interaction.
Okay, so after this, and you saying that probably 10 more times than other shows, they won't get that nice private access. So probably this week will be a time to do that. For the Wicked
Yeah,
Smart
and
listeners.
it's only going to grow, right? I mean, that channel
That's what I
started
mean.
from nothing, now is 5,000 subscribers. That's going to be bigger, and it'll be harder. But yeah, right now that's the easiest spot.
I love it. Tell me something as I wrap up here that maybe you've been asked on other shows. I know you've been on my buddy Ed Milet's show, like really cool shows. What have you shared for a nugget that you look back on and you'd like to share today that I didn't ask you? Something that's kind of like nice takeaway or nice nugget.
I think just recognizing that it's an ongoing process, that even for me and where I'm at now, and for Chris and where he's at now, there's still ongoing insecurities and doubts and fears. And that's good. Like if there's nothing in your calendar that makes you anxious in the next 2 weeks, you don't like your life,
Yeah,
right? You're just
yeah,
photocopying the
spot on.
same day over. You're just stuck inside your comfort zone. And so there should be things that other people may look at and say, oh, you're scared about that. But yes, like this is part of the ongoing journey. In an hour, I'm doing an interview with Tony Robbins for my channel,
Love
and
it.
I'm nervous. It's like I want to have a good interview. I want to ask some good questions. We want to get results.
Right.
I've had Tony on before. I mean, he's been on. The first video we did with him got 1.8 million views, and now I know Tony. I've met him backstage and we've chatted, but I'm still nervous, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's learning to run into those nerves, because being nervous is not a good enough reason. Being afraid is not a good enough reason. And we have these moments. I think for some of the people in your audience who might be considering going into real estate, being scared is not a good enough reason to say no. Because if you just live your life by what doesn't make you scared, you hate your life.
Yeah.
So it's recognizing it's an ongoing process, that I'm still learning and growing, and things still make me scared and nervous, and then it's just pushing through those things. And it's same thing for me and Chris and Tony Robbins and anybody you look up to. It's not that we're superhuman or that are just way different than you. It's just the willingness to say yes when it's hard, when it's scary, when it's difficult, and jump in instead of run away.
Super spot on, Evan. I mean, I could take every one of my questions, I could take, clip it, and send it to the Wicked Smart community and go, there's your motivational Monday for the week, or there's your whatever for the week. So really appreciate it. Appreciate your candor. Appreciate your letting everybody know how to reach you. I hope you have a kick butt interview with Tony. That's great. And thanks for being on and sharing for the Wicked Smart listeners. Appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me, man.